Today's the 8th day of the Inktober challenge, and I'm going to do a copy of a cartoon that I first did on my graphics tablet. It was one of the very first, if not the first, graphics tablet experiment that I did a few years ago. And I found working on the tablet was very difficult for the first 2 weeks, and I only did maybe about half an hour a day to build up my brain power around it, because drawing on something but seeing the image somewhere else and not under your pen is very disorientating. And I also found that I think what was happening was that I was building more neural pathways. So after about 2 weeks I got the hang of it, and it started to become a pleasure rather than a real task. So I'll show you I'll show you that at the end, but I'm going to do the drawing now and let's see how we go. I think I've managed to save it. Why Jack Russells go missing. This is just a personal happenstance of mine with my Jack Russell, and he often is right behind me or beside me and I can't see him anywhere. It's like he sort of sits under my radar. So this is the sort of experience I've had with him. This is the original drawing I did with my graphics tablet. I got into a bit of trouble with this one because I probably should have drawn from the head down to get the perspective right. I ended up with my neck being way too long, but considering the circumstance of the actual cartoon, it's probably quite acceptable in the panic that I feel when I think he's gone or he's missing or I've lost him, that I've extended my head right out like it's on a periscope and I'm trying to find him. So that's day 8. One of the things that I found really interesting about doing this sort of drawing is how to think outside the box and get yourself out of trouble when you've drawn yourself into a little bit of a corner. So this sort of thing is an example of the type of sort of fix you've got to do on the hop. So there's never any mistakes. That's the way to think about it, or the way I try and think about it. It's just like a serendipitous process, and when you think you've done a mistake or you thought you're going to draw this and you made an accident or think you've made a mistake, instead of looking at it like that, to think, well, you know, where's this going to take me? So often when I'm drawing like that, I don't really know what I'm drawing, but I think I know what I'm drawing, and I tend to kind of meander around the page with my pencil. It gives me an opportunity to discover something about myself and my drawing process that I wouldn't necessarily get if I stuck to the rules and the boundaries of where I think I'm going. So to let myself overdraw something or make a line too big or do what other people would call a mistake and what I used to call a mistake, it actually enhances my ability to draw outside the box, to think outside the box, and to explore and experiment rather than feeling like I've made a mistake and I've got to rub it out, or getting frustrated with what I've drawn because it doesn't look like what I think it'd look like. What it does is allowing myself to just go with what is and give in to that process actually expands my creativity, It expands my ability to imagine and explore more of the inner child process, where it's totally spontaneous and I don't know where this is going, but ideas pop into my head as I go along. Often I'm drawing characters that I never would have drawn if I'd tried to think about it first. So this is just one of those processes where if you keep giving into the unknown and exploring as you go, you'll actually break through and break down the barriers that you've been creating in, which opens up a huge expanse of territory that you can explore inside yourself as well as externally through your creativity. So that's day 8. I hope you enjoyed it. Tonight I found it a little bit difficult to get my head around coming and doing this before I went to bed. I suddenly realised that I still had to do this. I'm feeling a bit tired with staying up so late. It's not so late tonight, but by the time I fiddle and fart ass around, I'm generally not getting into bed before 12 o'clock for the last week or so, which is too late for me. But I've been giving myself time to regenerate through the week and have a few nana naps and sleep in a bit, just change my day around so that I can still explore this stuff at night. I'm trying to do stuff with my mum and do caring of my mum too, so night time's usually the time that we sit down and watch a bit of TV or sit and read together, and I don't want to miss out on that, so I'm doing the drawing after I come downstairs from my evening with her. I really want to colour these things. I looked at some paint pens the other day in the Liquidators store, the sort of reject shop, and they only had about 3 or 4 colours, not Posca pens, a different sort, and they were a couple of dollars cheaper. They didn't look as well made. I sort of hesitated to buy them, so I'm going to look online and see if I can get a set of coloured pens, or I might go into town later this week and see if I can find some colours. I know that one of our stationery shops in town has got lots of colours, but these pens are about $5, $5.50 each. So hey, investing in myself. It's actually the first time, I think I mentioned this before, the first time I've actually done black and white drawing where I've really had the urge to put colour on. So, and I've had a difficulty with colouring things in with pencils or pens. I'm better at using paint when I'm doing colouring processes, but these pens are so much fun. I don't know why. I think drawing big in black and white is really, it's meeting something inside of me that feels really relieved and joyous, and I don't know, it's just really hitting the nail on the head for me. So I'm just going to keep going with the process, and I've started, well, day 8 is the second week now of the Inktober process, and we'll just keep seeing how we go with it. But I love it. I can sit back in my bed at night and look at my wardrobe door and it's got all my drawings on it. So we'll see you later. Bye.